Love it. First, and he was an Anglican king, but he was persecuting the Calvinists. So not that long ago, I discovered my very first track off the Final Frontier album, which I believe was released in 2010, El Dorado. And man, what a song that was. Yeah, really good. And it didn't take that long for a lot of you Maiden fans out there to comment and suggest lots of different songs. Of course, from a lot of New Era stuff, but in particular Final Frontier. And one song seems to be very popular. The Talisman. So yes, I did read a little bit about the track. Now apparently, it's not really a song specific about history. However, it is based roughly on the premise of people fleeing religious persecution or going off to a new world. Okay? By boat. By boat. Actually, not the first time New Era Maiden have covered the topic of religious persecution. Because a few months ago, I did the Montsegur track. Another fantastic track. Very, very detailed in terms of, specifics around that particular moment in time. If you haven't seen that and you haven't seen my reaction and the history analysis, go there. So, yeah, this is slightly different. Apparently, this is not too specific, but it is roughly based around historical elements. What we can do, we can look at the lyrics after the reaction and, I don't know, just try and pick out any of the relatable pieces of history from that anyway. So we'll do that after the song. First of all, I want to say thank you to John. This is a special request. Thanks, buddy. He pointed me in this direction. Now, some of you familiar with the channel will know that I sometimes like to take alternative routes on my journey of discovery. So not always the standard official stuff, which was why it was great to share with you those To Tame a Land and Drifter recordings, which we did a couple of months ago. So that's always great to do that. And yeah, I think John obviously had seen my Anzin de Poitrine reactions because there's something very similar with this because, what can I say? I am not a digital native. That's my age, I think. I grew up with things being sometimes a little bit raw, and I kind of like that. So it's cool to sometimes check on recordings that are not over-processed and have overdubs and all this kind of stuff. You know, kind of gives us a little bit more of the emotion of a proper live performance, if you get what I mean. So I've been told that this next version of the Talisman kind of goes along the same lines as the reactions I did for Anzin de Poitrine. So that's interesting. Okay. So we're going to try something a little bit different with Maiden here. And this is Maiden live in 2011. Alrighty. Okay. There's Bruce. What's he doing? Oh. Okay, this is the
when I stand and look about the port,
like a space stage set.
will I ever see my country again? As the captain calls us on the deck,
Only Yannick playing.
take my things and walk.
Dave and Adrian taking a break.
Other side, I glance back one last time. Our nation, our problems we leave behind. Ships by the tenfold, sail out on the tide. We please to be out embracing the open sea.
Slow storytelling intro.
More free from thee. Heritage unfulfilled reason behind them. We flee from what is not, what is will be. Through the earth, face our harsh reality. Will death hangs up sea?
This is building to something. Cool folky intro, isn't it?
Judgment of salvation, never to be seen on these shores again, as we sail to ocean sides, blue side of the land face of
Of course, Final Frontier was that whole space concept, right?
we're off now to sea.
But this song isn't.
Fortunes to the land of
Oh, there's Dave and Adrian. Woohoo! Classic Maiden tempo. That backdrop is a ship, I think they have there, right? Yeah, it's a ship. I hear that gallop, man. Oh, yes. Love it. Bruce's voice, huh? There's no overdubs on this, huh? It's raw. And hitting those notes. With power. Cool. Nice melody switch. Nico giving the trademark crash rides section. That guitar looks different on Dave Murray. Okay. Right, Bruce has gone for a drink or something else. Nice bridge, man. They always chuck in a Middle Eastern sound in one of the leads, right? They do it often. Oh! That is naughty. Oh. Okay, Bruce is back. Three guitar melody, do you think? Is Dave on a Les Paul? You never saw that in the 80s. I think he was on a Stratocaster. Some echo effects on Bruce. Fair play. Yes, it was a raw recording, I'll give you that. But still good enough to appreciate the music. And, more importantly, the live performance. This is a proper live performance. No digital tweaking on this at all. And they sound good, man. I mean, in my opinion, sometimes it's just important to hear the real thing, huh? You know what I mean? Because there's lots of chatter. I was reading stuff about a lot of bands who go out on the road using like backing tracks and actually not even singing. I was like, hey, but Maiden, yeah, you pay to see them live. They give you live. I mean, that is the professionalism and authenticity, that's important, authenticity of a band like Iron Maiden. And probably the reason why they continue to sell stadium all over the world, right? Because you know you're getting the real deal, man. And there were some really cool elements in this track. I mean, that folk, slow-burning beginning, and also Bruce setting the scene, you know. Of course, Adrian and Dave weren't on stage, so it was obviously Yannick. I couldn't quite see him because he was behind one of the, I guess, stacks that was behind the camera angle. And Steve, of course. And then, then we're off, you know. It's lots of gallop, some great melody changes, and it's kind of like a blistering pace all the way through then, isn't it? But another reason to appreciate this raw version, Bruce's vocals. I mean, what can you say, man? You can only applaud, right? Really. I mean, Bruce is rightly within the top pantheon of metal singers, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, there's no question. And I suppose, as I'm talking about Bruce, and he gave us that wonderful kind of wise, sage-like intro storytelling, I think it's time to pull up the text, pull up the lyrics, and just see if we can see any of the historical references with this, even though I know it's supposed to be roughly based on history, but still, it's always fun to do. So here we are. Where's the text? Yeah. When I stand and look about the port. Port side is the left side, by the way. Or maybe it's the... No, I think actually the port could be the port on the side of the... Yeah, the port. Unless it's the port side. All right. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. When I stand and look about the port and contemplate my life, will I ever see my countrymen again? As the captain calls us on the deck, I take my things and walk. To the harbour side I glance back one last time. Yeah, I think he's looking around the port, not the port side. Apologies. But yeah, this is obviously someone at the start of a very long journey, methinks. Fleeing our nation, our problems we leave behind. Ships by the tenfold sail out on the tide. We are pleased to be out and embracing the open sea. Ha ha! Free from our troubles and more free from thee. Inheritors unfulfilled, reason behind us. We flee from what is not, what is will be. We flee the earth and face our harsh reality. Will death be low mist that hangs on the sea? We run from evil tongues, rash judgments, selfish men. Never to be seen on these shores again. As we sail into ocean sighs and lose sight of land, a face of contentment around in the air. We're off now to seek all our fortunes to the land of our dreams. Yes, this is definitely, that section is about people fleeing as they are persecuted people. Yes. And I mean the most obvious, relatable piece of history are the Pilgrim Fathers, right? No, actually, the Pilgrim Fathers. Yeah, it was the Mayflower from Plymouth. And they were English. In fact, they were English Calvinists. Protestants, but Calvinists. But they had actually been living in Leiden, in the Netherlands, for 12 years prior. And they had already escaped from King James I, and he was an Anglican king, but he was persecuting the Calvinists. So, I found something about the Pilgrim Fathers. Now, apparently in 1608, they escaped from England. They're not entirely sure where, but it was on the coast somewhere between Grimsby and Hull. And they were rescued at sea by a Dutch skipper. And so they were essentially refugees. And the skipper took them back to Amsterdam, and they then relocated from Amsterdam to Leiden. And they built a community in Leiden, because the Netherlands historically has always been more tolerant. The same with the Jewish communities; they were always welcomed. That's why you have traditional Jewish families in Amsterdam. You have that, the diamond business, which is also linked with Antwerp in Belgium. So yeah, they found refuge in the Netherlands. But of course, the New World was beckoning, but they had to go back to England to get passage across the Atlantic. Okay? Now, according to this, one second, a substantial part of the community emigrated as pilgrims to North America. And they did this in several groups between the years of 1620 and 1643. And like I said, they had to go back to England to catch the boats, because that's where the boats were leaving. So yeah. So let's quickly go through the text a bit more, see if there's anything else. Riding the waves and the storm is upon us. Okay, we're into the adventurous part now. The winds lash the sails, but the ropes keep them tight. Off in the distance a dark cloud approaching. None could imagine what there was to come. No, there's no one going back. No, which was often the case, right, in those early days. Once you left, that was it. There was no coming back. There's not a second chance. As we strap onto the side, we pray to God that we won't die. Yeah, those early settlers and seafaring explorers, I mean, essentially, they really put themselves in vulnerable positions, right? They had no idea really what they were going to. And, I mean, proper explorers. I mean, and here we are today with Google Maps. You know. As we ride the rough seas, as we soak from the ocean waves, I just hope for all our lives and pray that I survive. Sorry, I'm giving you this piratey accent. Just kind of works with the whole seafaring thing. 4 ships are lost in the stormy conditions. The spirits of the sunken crews, their phantoms follow us. Spirit sails, they drive us on. Through the all-consuming waves, cold mortality, no weapon against these ever-raging seas. So, 4 ships are lost in the stormy conditions. I mean, is it really about the... I mean, it's based on the Pilgrim Fathers, I'm sure, but I wonder, did the Pilgrim Fathers lose any ships if they were going between... It was like a 20-year period they were all leaving, right? Hang on a sec, let me just see if that is a historical fact. Okay, so I can't find any reference of any of the Pilgrim Fathers' ships sinking. The only thing I can find was that there was one ship that was taking some of the Pilgrim Fathers called the Speedwell. And apparently it turned back to port twice because, it wasn't in good enough condition. And then after the second attempt, it didn't make it across the Atlantic. It just stayed in port in England. So that's the only one. So, yeah, like I said, this is roughly based around historical fact. It's not precise. As, for example, Alexander the Great and Montségur, which we covered... And I covered the history analysis with those two as well. And yeah, also, the Pilgrim Fathers, just reminding me, I also did a history analysis on Run to the Hills. And I covered some of the early New England settlers with the Pilgrim Fathers. Again, if you haven't seen that, some interesting stuff on that as well. And there's a lot of, hardship in this text on the open sea. But what I'm seeing here is there's a lot of repetitive chorus lines. Westward the tide, westward we sail on. Westward. Again, I think that's a kind of a rough reference to the Pilgrim Fathers, right? Crossing the Atlantic, heading west. So yeah, that was a very cool track, and actually a very cool version to see. For all of the reasons I, already mentioned. Some really good storytelling. Just a great live performance. Nothing over-processed. Just Maiden showing us the very reason why they continue to sell out across the world. Essentially. So, yeah. I mean, the last couple of Maiden songs I've covered have been live versions, right? So, I think for the next one... we should go back to a studio track or maybe an official video and check something else out, So, but that was still, nevertheless, that was, enjoyed that. All right, up the irons.